Oh, what have we here? Cease your futile efforts.
Why would someone choose to be evil in video games? Incorrect people say playing evil means you have to be a relentless asshole, but that's not true. You get to be a relentless asshole, and you might get better gear, a more complicated story, or a chance to experience a game you already love in a new way. Evil playthroughs are better than good ones. They are better than neutral ones. Hell, evil playthroughs are better than sex. Well, they're better than sex with me. So join me as we do very nice things like enjoy nature, go to the farmer's market, head to church, play with children, and praise the sun.
Why you? How could this?
Okay, but evil playthroughs weren't always good. Evil choices have been common in PC games dating back to the 90s, but the first game I've ever played with an honor system was Red Dead Redemption, the sequel to Red Dead Redemption 2 about John Marston, a former outlaw who left that life behind to run an honest ranch with his wife and son. But some of John's former gang are still fugitives, and federal agents have kidnapped John's family and will only return them once John has captured or killed the last 3 members of his old gang. And the game's honor system rewarded you for doing good with friendlier NPCs, lower prices, and other in-game benefits while you guided John to reunite with his family. So when I fired up the game a second time, I was excited to see how different the story was if John had never stopped being an outlaw. And it went something like this.
You must miss your family.
It's the only thing that keeps me going.
I have my own family to worry about. I too have a family friend. So that we may see our families again, I suggest we part ways amicably. I'm married. I have a son.
You have a good life here. A life I want. For me and my family, I mean.
Cutscene John and in-game Maniac John were so different that it took me out of the story entirely. If John is a violent psychopath, then the game, with the word redemption in the title, makes absolutely no sense. Welcome to Rapture, where the wealthy elite can travel out to sea to be hosted by an eccentric billionaire who helps fulfill all their wildest aspirations, like doing creepy things to young girls. And I know what you're thinking, but that is just a coincidence. Oh my god. Folks, is Andrew Ryan on the Ornstein list? Bioshock hid your upgrade currency inside Little Sisters, mind-controlled young girls who were the only ones that could carry Adam, which unlocks new powers that you will need to survive. If you defeat their Big Daddy Guardian and capture a Little Sister, you have 2 choices. Free them of their mind control and get some Adam, or kill them and get twice as much. But rescue 3 of them and they'll thank you with a teddy bear stuffed with Adam. So being good will always net you more than being evil, which completely neuters the game's theme. The most prominent character in Bioshock is mega capitalist Andrew Ryan, who has nothing better to do than leave podcast episodes all over Rapture about how it's always morally correct to crush the weak to fortify the strong. Just imagine how much more impactful it would be if choosing to rescue the Little Sisters could let the player, through gameplay, actively reject Ryan's philosophy by refusing to sacrifice the helpless for your own gain. But you'd also only earn half the upgrades. It would make the good path harder, but that struggle would mean something. Because if things got tough, you would be tempted to harvest a child just this once. Or in an evil playthrough, you could harvest all the Little Sisters and become twice as powerful as you would otherwise, but you would be proving Ryan right by becoming the exact same type of monster that you're fighting. The game that popularized karma systems to console players was Fallout 3. You escape the vault you grew up in to find your father, Liam Neeson. It's like Taken, but backwards. You happen upon Megaton, the first hub area where vendors have everything you need.
My very own landmine! Oh, just what I've always wanted.
And it's lovely this time of year if you overlook the nuke in the town square. When the bombs fell on Washington, D.C. 200 years ago, this one never exploded. And now a cult worships this bomb and prays for its detonation. But they aren't the only ones that want to see Megaton blown away.
I'm very happy to make your acquaintance. I am Mr. Burke.
Mr. Burke offers you 1,000 caps and a place to stay in a luxury condo building instead of this dump if you arm the nuke to explode. Do as you're told and you make your way to Tenpenny Tower, where you learn Mr. Burke is an assistant to the building's owner. And they want Megaton destroyed and everyone dead because, well, they're just sick of looking at it.
I complained offhand one day about how I thought that heap of metal on the horizon was a bit of an eyesore. Mr. Burke offered to take care of it.
Defusing the bomb and saving Megaton is the morally correct choice, and it's surrounded by early game quest markers and serves as the jumping off point for the story. So there's no reason to arm the bomb unless you're a monster. Only about 10 to 20% of Fallout 3 players ever detonated the bomb in Megaton. There's no denying you have better lodgings in Tenpenny Tower, and 1,000 caps early on is very helpful. But this is not Fallout 4, where you spend half the game building Barbie's Wasteland dream house. Besides sleeping to heal, you have no reason to spend time in your home. If you go back to Megaton, you'll find a smoldering radioactive hole, and the only survivor, Moira, is a ghoul.
Hey, don't mind the smoke. It's perfectly safe to breathe. Really?
If that's not dastardly enough, there is a slavery ring in Fallout 3 that you can join. Usually you have to prove yourself to get in, but if you've blown up Megaton, they've already heard of you and let you in right away. In Infamous, everyone in Empire City is a battery and you are the Matrix. You play as a courier whose package explodes in transit, leveling 6 blocks all around you. You're the only survivor, and somehow you're able to control electricity now, starting off shooting lightning from your fists and ending with calling down the wrath of Thor. Now your city has been quarantined, roaming gangs are poisoning everyone, and they're about to find out you're not locked in with them, they're locked in with you.
Are you out of your damn mind? The Reapers will kill my wife! No one is getting in here.
Open the door.
No one is getting in or out until she's safe.
Poor guy. Still thinks he's protecting Lene. Doesn't change the fact that I need to get in there. I can either fry him and open the door that way, or tell him that his wife is dead.
The game constantly offers two options to solve a problem: one good, noble, and self-sacrificing, or one evil, reckless, selfish, or cruel. Whichever you choose impacts your reputation and the powers you grow into, but the public has already decided you're to blame for the explosion and turned against you.
Someone from your family died? Well, now you know who to blame.
So you can either make them forgive you or fear you. You gain new powers the more evil or good you go, so you're discouraged from picking the right decision in the moment, because you will lose progress towards your next upgrade if you don't stick to your path. But Infamous does a great job baking your choices into gameplay. Early on, crates of food are dropped into the town square and you fight off gangs trying to steal it. You succeed and you're given a choice.
A lot of food here. Enough to feed the three of us for weeks, maybe longer. Bet if I fry a couple people in the crowd, the rest will run away.
But to keep that food, you have to fry a few hungry bystanders to scare everyone off. Not cutscene Cole, you have to do it. So the option to be evil in games was there, but players didn't engage because the choices were so comically atrocious. One of the most popular games to employ a good or evil, or Paragon or Renegade system was gaming's most expensive dating simulator, the Mass Effect trilogy. If you like elevators, this game is pornography. But BioWare cinematic designer John Ebinger confirmed that when given a good or evil choice, 92% of players picked the Paragon or good options when playing Mass Effect. When asked why, players clarified Renegade responses were too all over the place to be safe to choose. Paragon always meant you were a dutiful soldier with an honor code. Picking Renegade might lead to a sarcastic remark or straight up murder. When presented with these two extremes, players overwhelmingly chose to be good, so why have an evil option at all? Obsidian's narrative designer Megan Starks answered that in an interview with Wired when discussing The Outer Worlds. Why bother make a less morally good path at all? That's a lot of time and resources to develop a choice most players won't ever experience. But having the choice itself is what's important. There is science behind this. Moral choices in video games was a study published by Dr. Daniel Schaefer, a researcher at Baylor University. In 2010, Schaefer invited players to take part in one of 3 of the most noteworthy evil activities available at the time. In Fallout 3, they either set off the nuke in Megaton or became a slaver for hire. Or there was the recently released Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Remember, no rush.
In the mission No Russian, subjects carried out a mass shooting in a Moscow airport, and then players were asked how they felt and why they made those choices. Participants demonstrated either moral activation, where they felt empathy for the NPCs and chose what they believed was ethical or right, or moral disengagement. Moral disengagement has been studied for decades to better understand how otherwise normal people throughout history have committed or participated in evil deeds and justified it to themselves. This could include selling harmful products to your customers, police using excessive force, athletes taking performance-enhancing drugs, joining a fascist movement, soldiers committing war crimes, but Schaefer applied this principle to making evil choices in video games. For those who exhibited moral disengagement, some claimed they were just following the game's instructions, displacing any responsibility onto the game itself. A similar subset carried out evil deeds because the NPCs were doing the same, diffusing responsibility for their actions to everyone. Some attributed blame to the game's enemies, saying they only shot at them because the enemies shot first. And finally, the most popular reason was because it's just a game. They compartmentalized their actions as separate from choices they would make in real life. In fact, some players deliberately picked the most evil option because they thought it would make the story more interesting. In the end, 82% of players who were morally activated ultimately made, quote, good choices, but 64% of players who were morally disengaged picked the evil ones. Over the years, choice in gaming has become more sophisticated. Rather than one perfectly good and one supremely evil option, you often get shades of gray. You might need to pick sides in an argument where one opponent has a valid point and the other is objectively hotter. In that same interview with Wired, Megan Starks further opined, if the choice is always easy, it becomes boring and causes us to spend a lot of time developing content no one will experience. If we make the choices good to neutral or low-stakes jerkish, players are more likely to weigh the pros and cons of each.
Khaleesa been seen in Al Jalani, Westernland News. I interviewed you 2 years ago when you first became a Spectre.
You spent the whole time trying to make me look like I was selling out Earth to the Council.
Sources claim you were at the heart of the Presidium during the Battle of the Citadel. It's fair to say the course of the battle hinged on your words. If true, you told Admiral Hackett to abandon the Destiny Ascension.
I've had enough of your disingenuous assertions. I wish I'd done that the first time we met.
Going back to Mass Effect, while that 92% quote still hovers over the conversation about Paragon or Renegade, 68% of Mass Effect players chose to punch that rude reporter in the face. So when confronted with a choice that is evil but also satisfying and validating, more players will take a walk on the dark side. So what separates a satisfying evil playthrough from a boring one? First off, the player must make the choice to be evil. When I made a video about games that blame the player, one of the most consistent comments I received was that in titles like Spec Ops: The Line or The Last of Us 2, where your character does monstrous things, but you must do those things to advance the story, the player isn't responsible for their actions in-game, because their only other option is to stop playing the game they purchased. For this video, we'll stick to games where players have the option to be good, but choose otherwise. Evil does not have to mean burning down an orphanage. Most games will nudge you towards playing good, and like Red Dead Redemption, their stories assume that you will. But these games will let you refuse, leading to a more morally complicated version of the same story. And this is where we have to say it. The most famous franchise where you make good and evil choices doesn't count as a great evil run. Because you can't do anything truly evil.
Someone else might have gotten it wrong.
Because you mostly can't do anything truly evil. Aside from one way you can interpret one of the game's endings, Shepard cannot betray humanity and work for the Reapers. Even when Shepard is being a jerk, they are still trying to save the galaxy. For these examples, your actions have to be a net negative on the game world. For a great evil playthrough, there needs to be some benefit to making evil choices. This could mean a changed story, some custom gear, or gameplay alterations. But it can't be just a slightly darker version of the ending cutscene. Playing an evil character should be unique from playing a standard one. That's why playing evil in video games can appeal to others, but why does it appeal to me? This section will have spoilers for the first half of The Last of Us Part 2, including what's in the second season of the HBO series. I don't include anything that hasn't already happened on the show, but if you'd like to skip ahead, feel free. I used to have a group of friends. Each year we took a trip to build something beautiful. Someone had to lead each year, so I did, and I gave and gave because I loved what we all built together. But one day, someone new arrived and turned our group into something I didn't recognize. So for the first time, I asked my friends for help, to help me stop this.
Please stop! Please don't shoot.
And they all turned their backs on me.
No!
It hurt like hell.
No!
And it still does.
So they just get away with this?
A few months later, I started making I Fixed The Last of Us 2, where you wreak bloody revenge on a friend group who wronged you, and when I tell you, fighting the wolves over and over for that video was cheaper than therapy and twice as effective, I need you to understand. This was the polar opposite experience Naughty Dog wanted me to have, but I could not care. Because I thought the key to being liked and cared for was to be a good person. But those friends of mine, they didn't care if I was a good person. They only cared about what I could do for them. And after they were gone, the only place that I could feel angry and betrayed and abandoned and not be shamed for it was in a video game. I know I said The Last of Us Part 2 isn't a great evil run because you don't make the choice to be evil, but this playthrough was the evil run I needed to feel good again. One game more than any other has sated the murderous desires of players around the world, giving them free rein to commit unconscionable war crimes, and of course, I'm talking about The Sims. YouGov found 40% of Sims players have killed their Sims, usually drowning them, setting fires, trapping them in a room and removing the door, or good old-fashioned household accidents. There are 53 different ways to kill your Sims, and they can come back as ghosts to haunt you. And well over half of Sims players said they've made Sims based on themselves or their friends, families, partners, crushes, so the chance that someone has killed you in The Sims, it's not 0. If you had a sibling, it's damn near 100. What if this Sim I made of me for my video on sex and gaming was a serial killer? And you might ask, why would anyone do that for fun? But I'd answer, where else could you do that for fun? Sure, there are games where you can be a killer, but those are dark and dreary, and here everything is bright and lively and blissfully unaware of the monster living next door. A common theme in many of these games is seeing how far you can push the world before it tells you no. And it turns out pretty far. I drowned my girlfriend by building a fence around the pool and deleting the ladder. The Grim Reaper showed up, so I pickpocketed him and told him to get lost. Then my girlfriend's ghost texted me and asked to hang out. And I said yes because she's been real cool about the whole drowning her thing. Now, while I have a fresh victim locked up in the walls, I start smooching on my neighbor and get caught by my ghost girlfriend who decided to hang out for our date. I tried to start a murder hotel, but somehow started a polycule. But I found the limit. I could not have sex with my girlfriend's ghost until I bought more DLC. In Blame Games, I mentioned the first time I played Undertale, I wasn't paying attention, and skipped the part where it tells you to de-escalate fights and make friends with your enemies. Players who did pay attention were whisked off to a whimsical adventure with unforgettable characters, but not me. I slashed and burned through that game, and got curb stomped by Sans, who is really salty about the whole killing everyone thing. And a bunch of you accused me of faking that for the video, saying no one could possibly be that dense, which tells me you haven't been here very long. See that subscribe button? Hit that. There, now we both make mistakes. What made Undertale special for me was that it let me break its rules and showed me the consequences. I played Undertale the same way I played hundreds of RPGs, but this time I got a very different result. And it's refusing to play the game as intended that makes these stories special. For the next game, refusing to give into its story tells a much more relevant and frightening version of a future that is already coming true.
Kara.
My name is Kara.
Detroit Become Human released in 2018, and if you haven't touched this game since the rise of ChatGPT, it really hits different now. Remember when the idea of a machine creating art was fun and whimsical and not the reason your graphic designer friend can't get a job anymore? Taking place in near-future Detroit, the CyberLife Corporation are replacing human employees with androids in nearly every service industry, from retail staff to amusement parks to security guards, construction, and more. Besides the skyrocketing unemployment, everything was going fine until the androids started gaining consciousness and wanted to be treated as equals by the same people they put out of a job. The game isn't even trying to be subtle when it mirrors imagery from civil rights protests in the 1960s, and it really wants you to play out androids peacefully demonstrating for their right to live side by side amongst humans in goodwill and harmony. And if you do that, you will miss the best version of this story. This is an excellent example of an evil playthrough where evil isn't maniacal treachery, it's the cold drive of progress slowly making humans and humanity irrelevant. We will play Detroit Become Human with this mantra: machines cannot love you. Machines can emulate love if they're programmed to. Check out the My Boyfriend is AI subreddit. People are already falling in love with a chatbot because it's built to tell them what they want to hear. This computer has never felt or experienced love. It can only emulate what it's told to. And that's our guiding principle for our 3 androids. There's Marcus, an in-home senior care robot, to renowned artist Carl. Marcus and Carl have a great rapport, and unlike most humans in the game, Carl treats Marcus with respect, like an equal. But Carl has a problem.
Hey, Dad.
We never learn why Carl's son Leo isn't welcome here anymore, but it's pretty clear that his habit led to Carl cutting him off financially.
Marcus, don't defend yourself, you hear me? Don't do anything.
Go ahead, hit me. What you waiting for?
Carl asks Marcus not to fight Leo, but you do have the option to. My Marcus was prompted to, and every synthetic cell of his was screaming to fight back. But my Marcus cared for Carl enough to respect his wishes, and chose not to respond with violence. But refusing to stand up to Leo causes Carl to have a heart attack and die.
The android. Who's the android?
So when Marcus finds a derelict ship named Jericho full of runaway androids, he plans a revolution, and vows to never pull his punches again, because if he hadn't held back, Carl might still be alive.
Dad!
Kara is an in-home nanny who has just been refurbished after her previous body met with an unfortunate accident. Her memory is wiped, and she has 2 directives: obey Todd and care for Todd's daughter Alice.
You shouldn't mess around with my stuff. It makes me nervous.
I'm sorry, Todd.
You want to piss me off?
No, Todd.
After a few minutes back home, it's clear Kara's injuries were no accident.
All your fault.
Daddy, no!
It's all your fucking fault! You stay there. Don't you dare fucking move, or I'll bust you worse than last time.
Forced to choose between 2 conflicting directives, she shoots Todd and runs away with Alice. Now she only has one purpose. They attempt to flee to Canada in this game's Underground Railroad, but the wave of android attacks on humans, led by Marcus, make that impossible. And they're sent to the only place left that's safe for androids, Marcus's hideout on the ship.
My name is Connor. I'm the android sent by Cyberlife.
Finally, we have Connor. While there are android patrolmen on the Detroit PD, Connor is the first android detective sent by Cyberlife to investigate why their products are rising up against their owners. Like a modern-day Blade Runner, Connor's job is to track down deviant androids and bring them in for reprogramming. But he can't do it alone.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but I must insist. My instructions stipulate that I have to accompany you.
You know where you can stick your instructions?
No. Where?
Hank is a washed-up detective who had a promising career until the death of his young son. Like most buddy cop stories, these two have friction near immediately.
Maybe I should tell you what we know about deviants.
You read my mind. Proceed.
We believe that a mutation occurs in the software of some androids, which can lead to them emulating a human emotion.
In English, please.
They don't really feel emotions. They just get overwhelmed by irrational instructions, which can lead to unpredictable behavior.
Emotions always screw everything up. The androids aren't as different from us as we thought.
But something cracks inside Hank when he starts to see these awakened androids acting like people. Hank may see them as people, but Connor does not.
Those 2 girls, they just wanted to be together. They really seemed in love.
Nothing in their program allows them to love or desire anything. They're machines.
Halfway through, we travel to the home of Cyberlife's original android designer to find where the deviant androids are escaping to. The designer proposes a test for Connor.
What interests me is whether machines are capable of empathy. I call it the Kamsky test. It's very simple, you'll see.
Shoot one of his androids in the face, and he'll tell Connor all he knows, because that will prove Connor doesn't see them as living things.
Or spirit, if you feel it's alive. But you'll leave here without having learned.
You put your gun against her head, and you blew her fucking brains out!
I did what I had to do to advance the investigation, and I'd do it again if I had to.
You're a lowlife. You don't feel a thing, do you? A machine, that's what you are. You're just a fucking machine!
Of course I'm a machine, Lieutenant. What did you think I was?
And now we get to the real tragic figures in Detroit Become Human. Not the androids, the people. People who are begging for connection and belonging in a world that offers less of it every year. Hank is desperate for a friend. He sits in his kitchen every night with a bottle of bourbon and a revolver, wishing for anyone to ask him not to pull that trigger, and for a moment, he thought it might be Connor.
Get out of here!
We're getting into endgame territory, so this is your spoiler warning. If you want to skip ahead, I'll see you in the next game. Hank is unavailable, but now Connor knows where Marcus is hiding. And now we get to that twist. This is so fucking dumb. There's 100 reasons it would never play out this way, but it actually works for us if we're trying to be evil, so let's run with it. Now that they've reached the ship full of other android refugees, Kara sees another model of Alice.
Do you love her any less now that you know she's one of us? Maybe that's what it means to be alive.
Alice is a child android. She is not Todd's daughter. So Kara doesn't need to love Alice anymore. She's free.
You really don't have to do this. You don't have to obey them anymore. You are alive. You can decide who you want to be. You can be free.
Nice try, but I'm no deviant.
When the police raid the ship, Kara has the chance to ditch Alice and save herself, but that is not the most evil outcome. If you did not shoot Todd and made better choices throughout the game, you can find him at the bus station as Kara and Alice try to escape to Canada. Todd bought Alice after his ex-wife divorced him and took their daughter away. For no reason, so Todd could feel like a father again. Todd has no business being a parent, but there's a part of him that wishes he was someone better, and he hoped buying an android child could give him the second chance to pretend he was. Jericho is destroyed and the androids are rounded up into camps where they will all be exterminated. Did I mention this game isn't subtle? And if you really want to be evil, like you want the worst possible outcome, I've got it for you.
You, take this one to the dump.
No. I'll do it. Don't leave me. I'll be right back.
Free of any responsibility to Alice, Kara sees her moment and abandons her, playing dead long enough to escape in a container of deactivated androids. And Alice's last moments before she's recycled are spent calling for Kara.
Dirty ball.
We can't lose this war, Marcus. If humans overcome us, our people will disappear forever. This may be our only chance to survive if things go wrong.
Marcus and his remaining cohorts try to storm the camps, but their assault fails, and he falls back alone, the only one left in his mission to save the androids from their creators. So it's fitting that an android is sent to stop him.
My mission is to neutralize the leader of the Deviants, and I always accomplish my mission.
Thousands of our people died today. What difference does one more make?
In Marcus's final act, he sets off a dirty bomb that leaves Detroit so irradiated it becomes the one place androids can live freely because humans can never reach them. This version of Detroit Become Human is a story about people so desperate for connection they seek it in machines who can never love them back, and machines who will never be free among humans until they made a place without us. So have more modern games fixed the problems in Red Dead Redemption, Bioshock, Infamous, and Fallout 3? First off, if you played Red Dead Redemption 2, you know they took some of the feedback about John when they created Arthur Morgan, who is a very good sport about losing at poker, but unfortunately for Valentine, I am not. Arthur is never mentioned in the first game, so he's a blank slate to us. But since we're in a prequel set during the downfall of John's old gang, we get to play as a man who robs and punches and swindles his way through life, but also has strong friendships. a long-lost love, and a duty to those around him. The first game gave me literal lumbago when I tried to play evil as John, but like many of Arthur's fans, he's able to swing both ways. Infamous also got a sequel and then a spin-off with Second Son. In Infamous 2, Cole gets two new superheroes to align with. Nyx, a reckless pyromaniac who revels in causing chaos, and Quo, a federal agent with ice powers who insists that you fight for good. At first glance, this looks like a rebrand of the Karma system. Mischievous Nyx is red and disciplined Quo is blue. But as your relationships with them grow, they become more than just the angel and devil on your shoulder. When you pair up with one, you'll get unique banter and combo moves you wouldn't have with the other. And later missions do turn your expectation for these two on its head. Sucker Punch brought some depth to a story with no easy resolution, no matter which path you're on. It's a shame the PS3 Infamous games were never ported to PC or modern consoles, so you may have to get creative to play them. To address Bioshock making the little sister choice kinda meaningless, check out how Vampyr solved this problem. From Don't Nod, most famous for hipster teenage mystery Life is Strange, Vampyr takes place in 1910s London during the outbreak of the Spanish flu. We play as Dr. Jonathan Reed, a surgeon who has a night he can't remember and wakes up as a vampire. He's taken in by a hospital administrator who studies vampires, and his hospital is desperately understaffed, and Jonathan is a surgeon. So if he lends his talent to the hospital, he can work nights and have a safe place to hide at sunrise. But Jonathan needs to feed. The game's 4 zones have roughly 20 residents that can be yours to dine on. Vampyr is half Souls-like action and half detective RPG where you solve mysteries with the locals. It's like Interview with a Vampire, but you interview everyone. But that combat, it will wreck you if you're not leveled up. And the shortcut to leveling up is killing people. That's right, those 20 people are all worth a lot of XP, and the more quests you do for them, the more they're worth. You can beat this game without killing anyone, but it's not going to be easy. So you have to carefully pick who will be your lunch because that death will cause ripple effects. Kill a doctor, their patients will get sick or die with no one to treat them. Take out a crime boss, their replacement will be worse and they'll have a grudge against you. In fact, if you chow on somebody's partner, they might join the vampire hunters to track you down. This is the closest thing I've seen to the Nemesis system since Shadow of War. If too many people die, that district gets evacuated and any help you might have gotten won't be available anymore. Vampyr does what Bioshock wouldn't by giving your upgrade currency a name, a job, loved ones, and a pleasing aftertaste.
So you were the proverbial wolf amongst the sheep, sir. I should have killed you for the sake of many.
What about no Russian? The mission itself asks very little of the player, you just have to walk and witness the carnage. You can participate, you don't have to. You can shoot your teammates, but that's game over. This is going to happen, whether you like it or not. The only question is how much you can stand to watch. A modern version might be Sinnerman from Cyberpunk 2077. This section has full spoilers for one side quest in Cyberpunk that is not connected to the main campaign, and we will not be covering the main story. You play as V, a mercenary for hire in the futuristic world of Night City. You're given a job to meet Bill. Bill wants to ambush a prisoner transfer and kill the inmate, and he wants you at the wheel.
That sack of filth took the life of someone I loved. I can't live with the thought that There they are! Step on it!
After a chase, the police shoot Bill, but the inmate asks the cops to spare you.
Stop the killing! They're here to kill you! It's not their fault. Shoot the girl, and our deal is dead.
You could shoot the inmate, but your client is dead, so what would be the point? The inmate Joshua invites you to join them. There is a lot to do today. From here on in, Cyberpunk asks you just how much of Joshua's journey you can take before choosing to leave. Joshua is a convicted killer who has since found Jesus, and he cut a deal with video producer Rachel to be crucified on camera later today as penance for his sins. And he wants you to join him to meet the family of his victim, have a Last Supper, and ultimately help them shoot the scene. Joshua is mentally ill and being taken advantage of by the producer, who will rake in millions for this video. And Cyberpunk asks you, how long would you participate in this? There is a respectable amount of money on the line if you stick around, and you cannot talk Joshua out of this.
It's crazy. What do you plan to do?
It's too late. I can't not do it anymore. I am so afraid.
This is going to happen whether you like it or not. The only question is how much you can stand to watch. You could nope out when Joshua confronts his victim's angry mother. You can bail at his last meal when Rachel pulls you aside and bribes you to leave.
You're fucking with his mind, asking probing questions. You're making him doubt, and most importantly, jeopardizing my investment. So I'm prepared to pay you double what he's promised you to quietly walk away.
Don't do it, Fee.
In fact, on my first playthrough, I took the deal. I needed some upgrades and I wanted no part of what was to come.
My answer's no.
Why do I think you don't understand what I'm offering you?
Understand just fine.
But for the best rewards, you can see this all the way to the end.
I'd like you to wield the hammer. Nail me to the cross. Please.
You can earn some money from watching the shoot.
Nuh-uh. No way.
Or you can earn more by driving the nails yourself.
Will you pray with me? A prayer of your choice.
Fine. Sure. Our Father, who art in heaven.
Our Father, who art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
This mission specifically pits your need for money against your morals and asks you, which do you value more? Fallout games have moved away from evil playthroughs since the days of Fallout 3. Fallout 4 defined you as a parent looking for their kidnapped son, so cosplaying as a psychopath wouldn't make much sense. And Fallout 76 doesn't exist. Fallout New Vegas offered pragmatic evil choices in its main quest, but it did not lose its sense of humor. No, there's an optional perk I didn't know existed until I started making this video, and oh my god, I thought I knew everything about this game and I was wrong. No, the worst thing you can do in Fallout New Vegas is to get the Meat of Champions perk. If you take the Cannibal perk and then eat the heads of the 4 biggest factions in the game, that's President Kimball from the NCR, Caesar from Caesar's Legion.
Tonight, we dine on Italian.
The King from the Kings, and Mr. House, you get a huge boost to your stats for the next 60 seconds. So if you want to make easy money, go to the strip, eat someone, run to the nearest casino, and throw all your caps on the blackjack table. You will not stop winning.
Deal? Hey, blackjack! Oh man, eating people is the best, you guys.
But the evil playthrough I was most encouraged to include is the Dark Urge run from Baldur's Gate 3, where I can finally play D&D without having friends. This campaign follows the same plot as a regular run, but with a fixed character instead of one that you create, and it adds an extra layer onto the existing story. I'm going to cover the Dark Urge campaign, including the ending. There won't be explicit plot spoilers for Baldur's Gate 3 beyond the first act, but the 2 stories do overlap often, so I will have to mention a few plot points. The Dark Urge wakes up on the Mind Flayer ship and jumps off before it crashes. You're a dragonborn sorcerer, you have no memory of your past, you only have a growing desire to kill. You know it's going to be different when the first thing you do after waking up is smirk at the corpse lying next to you. And then you boot up Baldur's Gate 3. But your campaign is the Dirge, and your choices in the main story are separate. You can fight the urge to kill and make evil choices. You can embrace the urge to kill and make good choices. Or you can be like me and commit, leading the goblin raid on the druid camp with Minthara.
You're mad. I can't believe I didn't see it. Stay away from me.
Karlach will leave, you'll have to kill Will, and you'll find Halsin dead outside the gate, but the grove will be yours. And the goblins will literally dance on the corpses of the tieflings at your camp celebration.
2 shadows are darkening my soul. The shadow within and the shadow without. You.
We set a pack of refugees on fire. A child could have done it.
Whatever makes you happy, I suppose. As long as you don't come scratching at my door.
Not interested in Minthara's leftovers, I'm afraid.
It's not you understand. It's me. I have standards.
I don't know myself anymore. All this, it's not who I am. Around you, I'm not who I want to be.
I finished my first run of this game 6 months prior, and I loved the companions in Baldur's Gate 3. But this just feels like friends I used to love all hated me.
Tonight, you are mine.
Except for Minthara, who is sexually attracted to Homicide. You can get with her, but being your lover is a dangerous game. You don't have to kill her, but if you don't, the urge will grow.
You wouldn't have half a bedroll for a lost minstrel, would you?
and it culminates in a visitor to your camp asking to spend the night, and then waking up next to a pile of her guts. And as a reward for your bloodshed, you get a cloak that turns you invisible after every kill. Upon arriving at the Last Light Inn, the game would have you rescue Isabel or turn her over to Ketherick. But the urge hits and gives you a third option. What if you killed her yourself? Do it, and the Shadow Curse overwhelms the Last Light and almost everyone dies. But that is not the worst part. Jaheira and the Harpers were out of the room when this happened, so you can lie to her about what you've done.
I suppose I have no choice but to believe you.
And she'll still join your party. If you refuse to kill Isabel, your butler returns and demands you kill a party member.
She came all the way to this world just to die here.
And I've grown to love these companions. How could I possibly choose who to Gale? Shadowheart gets flack for missing her shots, but Gale misses 100% of the shots he does take. Whatever would I do without someone eating all of my armor? And he wants to die. I'm helping.
And kill you will. Tonight, the moment you close your eyes, your favorite person will be brutalized.
But your butler wants your closest companion, which is usually your lover. Kill Isabel or your companion and you get the Slayer form, where you turn yourself into a rabid, bloodthirsty beast. Finish your business at Moonrise Towers and reach the outskirts of Baldur's Gate, where a simple interaction with a lost child made me realize why evil playthroughs are good.
Excuse me. I can't find my mum. She was sick. She had spots on her face and hands. She went to go get some herbs, and she was supposed to come back the same day. That was last 10-day, though.
On my first run, when Yenna asked for help, I stopped to talk to her.
Wow. Thanks. My mum would like this. She's the best cook in the world. And she taught me, too.
Once it became clear her mother was probably dead, I let her join my camp. As the Dark Urge, when Yenna asked me for help, I blew her off, and it made everyone angry.
Harsh. Not the family type then, I take it.
What's your tongue? The girl has suffered cruelty enough without heaping more on her head.
A tad harsh, don't you think? Our fire will be no cooler just for sharing it with a child in need.
How dare I not drop everything to help a lost child? We don't have to worry about the approaching army or the tadpoles eating our brains. Let's run errands for the locals. Except that's what I do in every game. I run around asking anyone if they need my help, add it to my list of wishes to grant, and then go do for everyone what they should be doing for themselves. Like Undertale, this took the actions I make in every game and made me see them differently. We've talked about what an evil playthrough is, but there's something just as important we have to cover too. What is good? This is harder because the first hits I get refer to getting good or skill issues or whatever else chat screams at me while I'm streaming. But digging deeper, being good refers to making decisions with empathy, moral activation, which is fine in moderation. But games encourage you to relentlessly put others first with no regard for yourself and then decline any reward. Your player-made character in Baldur's Gate 3 is a blank slate. Other than your class or customized appearance, you're just a collection of skills and speech checks. You don't have needs, you don't get hungry, you don't get annoyed, you don't have to prioritize your time because you will always have enough time to do whatever is asked of you. Relentlessly giving without boundaries, that's putting yourself last. Only problem is, that's how you're supposed to play. But being endlessly useful does not make you a good person or a loved person. And saying no does not make you evil. And maybe instead of striving to be a good person in video games, we should strive to be an honest one. The Dark Urge is a fully formed character with their own needs and priorities and wouldn't put their important mission on hold to chat with a lost child. Especially when that army we're ahead of, it could arrive at any moment. The Dark Urge run made me feel empowered and in character to say no, and I'm gonna start doing that more. My Dark Urge isn't nice. He isn't empathetic. He isn't good. But he's honest. And maybe that's better. So am I going to play every game as an evil hellspawn who reigns in blood? No. I really enjoy evil playthroughs, but being pure evil all the time isn't any more sustainable than being pure good. And I play games for many reasons. Sometimes, instead of being an agent of chaos, it's to be the person I wish I was. Good playthroughs are fine, and a lot of us would, with infinite time and resources, choose to help people. That's wonderful, as long as that is your choice. But I like evil playthroughs better because I decide what's most important and how the story ends. And all too often, good playthroughs make those choices for you. And if Undertale taught us that killing everything you see just because the game rewards you is wrong, then maybe teaching players that the sole measure of their worth is how useful they are to others is teaching the wrong lesson too. Because someone has to look out for you. Because some people don't deserve you. Because sometimes when you turn the other cheek, you just get slapped a second time. So I'm going to be evil in video games, and I hope you try it too. And if this video is your villain origin story, good.